This is Ryan's Midlife Crisis Journal, day 6, I believe. Yeah. All right, so today I'm going to talk about, I guess, some of the confusing aspects of midlife crisis thing, which also I've spent more time looking into. I spent more time researching. I don't know if I necessarily am going to summarize any of those today, but one thing I wanted to point out. So it's weird because I'm not sure how much of my current state is self-driven versus, whoa, there's a bird. People talk about all the time how much they are influenced by society as opposed to being self-driven. Now, I don't think it's possible that someone can be 100% self-driven. There's kind of, humans aren't really meant to be, live in a world where they're the only human. Like, being society-driven, it's one thing to be driven like a child, but you want to be driven by the needs of people around you. You want to be a part of a society in a way. So society driving isn't by itself the worst thing. It kind of depends. But I will say this, it's not obvious to me whether or not I was more informed by societal norms it's not clear whether societal norms have told me that pursuing aggressive dreams is what makes you fulfilled versus not pursuing aggressive dreams. Aggressive is what makes you fulfilled. So for example, I'm not sure where there could be that there's no actual misconception here, but with the way, jobs and school and things like that are organized, it's possible that it creates an overinflated sense of how satisfied you would be by attaining things that are standard. People complain about this all the time. This used to be, I think, the complaint that people would have of like that model 50s lifestyle and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to, it's a turkey. I don't want just like a, suburban life with a pension. The complaint there would be to say, that's society's told you that you have to be a cookie cutter like that. At the same time, it's also possible that it became so common that now it's more like society saying that, well, you need to have something special you're doing to be fulfilled, which is, I don't know how much, it could be a mix of both of those are true, which makes it very difficult to decide between saying like, I really want to find something that I'm excited to wake up for every morning versus saying, well, I just got to be excited for taking full advantage of what I have every morning. I can absolutely see how people who have loss or have, it's just like a human nature thing. When you lose something and then you appreciate that you have it. So, for example, the wife and 3 kids, a nice life. If I had any sense that I might lose it, I would probably wake up in the morning excited to do little things like basically be a super dad, super husband. But because I kind of, I don't feel a sense of like I'm about to lose that, I think I could do things like, just throw something out there. I could make like, I could figure out what kind of relatively low effort YouTube channel I could put together that could eventually become a source of passive income that could allow me to get us buy a bigger house where we can have and do more expensive pursuits, whether it's nicer vacations or when my kids want to get into something that's super expensive, then I could probably support that. So whether or not I should be excited to wake up to work on YouTube channels, or excited to wake up to try and, you know, I'll put it this way, like, do I try to start a YouTube channel that makes money, and then use that money to like sign my 5-year-old up for, you know, youth go-kart racing, if that's what he's into? Or do I wake up in the morning and find ways to build a go-kart track in the yard or something like that? Like, that's, you know, both are valid, but it feels like, it's also funny, it feels like it used to be that a lot of movies, the point of the movie would be that to do the latter, to focus so much ahead, and you have to make sacrifices for it, which is probably true to an extent. But I also feel like I can do kind of both. That's part of the problem. Although I'm doing neither, so I'm not doing myself any favors there. Outside of trying to sort out what to do, I guess. I don't know if anyone needs to try journaling like this, whether it's, I'm not saying necessarily journaling naked in front of a camera, but sorting out your thoughts, I don't think it's the worst thing. Also, I hope that I keep doing this for a bit. I failed to get to sleep early enough to get more than like 6 hours of sleep every night, which is not that bad in the grand scheme of things, but ideally you want to get like 7 or 8, or you can have like, you know, IQ drops, I guess, if you don't hit that. So I want to find ways to do that. I've always talked about with my wife about whether or not we should wake up early, and that's when we do things that we want to do, as opposed to try to get it done after the kids are in bed. But last night I would have stayed up late. Anyway, at least a little bit, to watch Ryan Blaney finally win this year. He's a NASCAR driver, if you're not familiar. But that's what I'm thinking about today. So now I have to decide whether or not to go get that extra hour of sleep, or get excited about organizing a section of the basement where we're trying to do a certain type of bin system to keep our life more organized. Which I was kind of excited for, but also when I say it out loud, it doesn't sound as exciting. I'm not sure. The longer I stay out here in the cold, the more it'll wake me up. It is still kind of cold. All right. I think that's probably good. Day 6 in the books.